Welcome to Best Stories to Learn English. Here, you'll enjoy inspiring and exciting stories told in clear, simple English. Each story will help you improve your listening, vocabulary, and speaking skills while keeping you entertained. Today's story is called The Secret of the Old Hotel. Let's begin. Last summer, Leo and his friend Mia wanted a summer job. They found an advertisement for a hotel in a small town. They applied for the job, and they got it. Now, they were on a bus to the town called Pineville. Leo and Mia were excited for their summer adventure. The bus stopped in Pineville. It was a very small town. There was a small bakery and a post office. There were a few houses, but there were not many people. The town was very quiet and peaceful. The air was fresh and clean. A man was waiting for them. His name was Mr. Clark. He was the owner of the hotel. He was old and had a kind smile. Mr. Clark drove them to the hotel. They drove for a few minutes. They saw tall trees and a deep forest. Then they saw the hotel. The hotel was very big and very old. It was next to the dark forest. The hotel was made of dark wood. There was a large garden with many flowers. The hotel was beautiful, but it looked a little lonely. It was very, very quiet. Mr. Clark showed Leo his room. The room was simple but clean. There was a small bed and a wooden desk. There was a window with a view of the forest. Mr. Clark gave Leo a key for his room. Leo put his bag on the bed and looked out the window. Later that night, Leo was in his bed. He was reading a book. The hotel was dark and silent. Then, he heard a noise. It was a small noise, a creak. Then, another creak. What was it? Leo was very tired. He turned off the light and closed his eyes. The next morning, the sun was bright. Leo woke up early. He felt happy and rested. He forgot about the noise last night. He looked out the window at the beautiful forest. He was ready for his first day of work. Leo met Mia in the hallway. She also looked happy and excited. They walked downstairs together to the kitchen. Mr. Clark was making breakfast for them. There was toast, eggs, and juice on the table. It smelled delicious. After breakfast, Mr. Clark gave them their jobs for the day. Mia needed to clean the rooms upstairs. Leo needed to work in the garden. The garden was very big and had many weeds. Leo started his work. It was hard work, but the morning sun was warm and nice. Later, Leo went inside to get a drink of water. He saw Mia in the hallway. She looked a little confused. She was holding a very old, dirty key. Leo walked over to her. Mia found the key behind a big wardrobe in one of the empty rooms. It was dark and covered in dust. It was not a modern key. It was very old and heavy. It looked important. Mia cleaned the dust off the key with her cloth. Leo and Mia looked at the key together. They were curious. What door did this key open? It was not a key for a bedroom. It was too big and old. They decided to keep the key. Maybe they could find the door later. They showed the key to Mr. Clark. They asked him about it. Mr. Clark looked at the key for a long time. His face looked serious. Then, he smiled. He said it was probably just an old key from many years ago. He said it wasn't important. But Leo saw a different look in Mr. Clark's eyes for a second. He looked surprised, or maybe worried. Mr. Clark took the key and put it in his pocket. He said thank you and walked back to his office. Leo and Mia looked at each other. They both thought the same thing. Mr. Clark was not telling them the truth. The key was important. That evening, the weather changed. Big gray clouds came over the hotel. The wind became strong. It started to rain. The rain was heavy and loud against the windows. The forest looked dark and mysterious. Leo sat in his room. He listened to the rain. He thought about the key. He thought about Mr. Clark's face. He also remembered the noise from last night. Was this hotel keeping a secret? Leo looked out at the dark, rainy forest. He knew this summer was going to be more interesting than he thought. The rain continued for 2 full days. The sky was gray. The forest was wet and dark. No guests came to the hotel. The only sounds were the rain on the roof and the wind in the trees. Leo and Mia felt a little bored inside. They finished their work very quickly. On the second rainy afternoon, they decided to explore the hotel. They started on the top floor. They looked in every room. Most rooms were empty and very dusty. They found old furniture under white sheets. It looked like ghosts in the dim light. They did not find any strange doors. Then, they went down to the basement. The basement was cold and smelled of old wood and earth. There was one light bulb, and it was not very strong. Leo and Mia could not see very well. They saw old boxes, broken chairs, and garden tools. In the farthest, darkest corner of the basement, they saw something different. It was a door, but it was not a normal door. It was very old and strong, made of dark wood with metal pieces. And it was locked. There was a keyhole, but it was old and rusty. Mia immediately thought of the key. The key they found was old and heavy. Maybe it was for this door. They felt excited, but Mr. Clark had the key. They could not open the door now. They felt disappointed. They looked at the locked door for a long time, wondering what was behind it. They went back upstairs to the lobby. They needed to think. They sat on the old sofa near the fireplace. The fire was warm and cheerful. It was a comfortable place to sit. Next to the sofa, there was a small table. On the table was a big old book. Leo opened it. It was not a book for reading. It was a photo album. Inside were very old black and white photographs. The photos showed people from a long time ago. They saw a picture of a serious-looking man who looked like Mr. Clark. This was probably his grandfather. They saw pictures of the hotel when it was new. There were pictures of parties with women in long dresses and men in suits. Then, Mia turned the page and stopped. She pointed to one photograph. It was a picture of Mr. Clark's grandfather with a woman. She was beautiful and smiled kindly. But they had never seen a picture of her in the hotel before. Who was she? Leo turned the photograph over. On the back, there was old handwriting in pencil. It was difficult to read. They looked closely. The writing said, "With Eleanor, the heart of the house knows the secret." Leo and Mia read the words again. The heart of the house knows the secret. What did it mean? What was the heart of the house? And what was the secret? They thought about the locked door in the basement. Was the secret behind that door? They heard a sound. Mr. Clark was walking down the stairs. Quickly, but carefully, Leo closed the photo album and put it back exactly where it was. They did not want Mr. Clark to know they were looking at it. Mr. Clark asked them if they were okay. They said yes, they were just sitting by the fire. He smiled and went into the kitchen. But Leo and Mia could not stop thinking about the photograph and the mysterious message. That night, the rain finally stopped, but Leo could not sleep. He sat by his window and looked at the stars. His mind was full of questions. Who was the woman in the photo? What was the heart of the house? And most importantly, what was the secret? He knew he and Mia had to find out. The next morning, the world was fresh and clean after the rain. Leo woke up with a mission. He needed to find the heart of the house. He met Mia at breakfast. They did not talk about the photo or the secret. Mr. Clark was there, and they wanted to be careful. After breakfast, they started their work, but their minds were elsewhere. While cleaning a windowsill, Mia looked at the big fireplace in the lobby. Fire is like a heart. It is warm and gives life to a home. She looked at Leo and pointed her head towards the fireplace. Leo understood immediately. When Mr. Clark went to his office, they went to the big fireplace. It was made of large, gray stones. It was old and cold. They looked inside. There was nothing there except old ashes. They felt disappointed. Was this not the heart? But Leo looked more carefully. He looked at the stones inside the fireplace. One stone looked a little different. It was a slightly different color. He touched it. It moved. The stone was a little loose. His heart started to beat faster. He carefully wiggled the stone. Mia watched, her eyes wide. After a minute, Leo pulled the stone out. Behind it, there was a dark, small hole. It was a hiding place. Leo put his hand inside the hole. It was dusty and dirty. His fingers touched something cold and metal. He pulled it out. It was another key. This key was small, old, and made of iron. It looked very old, even older than the first key. This had to be the key for the basement door. They didn't wait. They ran downstairs to the basement. The basement was still dark and cold. They went directly to the old, locked door in the corner. Leo's hand was shaking a little from excitement. He put the key into the rusty keyhole. It fit perfectly. He turned the key. It was stiff, but it turned. There was a loud clunk sound. The lock was open. Leo pushed the heavy door. It opened slowly with a long, low creak that echoed in the quiet basement. Behind the door was a very small room. It was not a scary room. It was not a treasure room with gold. It was a simple room. There was a small wooden desk and a simple wooden chair. On the desk, there was a small, beautiful wooden box. The box was not locked. Leo carefully opened it. Inside, there was no jewelry. There were no coins. Instead, the box was full of old papers. They were letters. Dozens of old letters, tied together with a faded ribbon. Mia carefully took one letter and opened it. The paper was yellow and fragile. The handwriting was elegant and beautiful. They started to read. The letter began, "My dearest William." William was the name of Mr. Clark's grandfather. They read a few lines. The letters were from the woman in the photograph. Eleanor. She and William were in love, but her family moved away to another country. They could not be together. These letters were their secret communication. They were letters of love, sadness, and hope. This was the secret. It wasn't a secret of money or crime. It was a secret of love and loss. The real treasure was this story and these memories. Leo and Mia felt a little sad, but also amazed. They discovered a beautiful old love story. They knew what they had to do. They carefully put all the letters back into the beautiful box. They carried the box upstairs. They needed to show Mr. Clark what they found. They needed to return this treasure to his family. Leo and Mia carried the wooden box carefully to Mr. Clark's office. The door was open. Mr. Clark was sitting at his desk, reading a newspaper. He looked up and saw the serious expressions on their faces. He saw the old box in Leo's hands. His eyes grew wide. He slowly put his newspaper down. They placed the box gently on the desk in front of him. Leo explained everything. He told Mr. Clark about the photo album, the message on the picture, and their search for the heart of the house. He told him about the loose stone in the fireplace and finding the key. Finally, he told him about the hidden room and the letters inside. Mr. Clark did not speak. He slowly reached out and touched the old wood of the box. His hand was trembling. He looked very emotional. He opened the box and saw the bundles of letters inside. He took out the top letter and recognized the handwriting immediately. A single tear rolled down his cheek. He looked at Leo and Mia. His kind eyes were full of tears, but he was smiling. He was not angry. He was grateful. He explained that he knew a small part of the story from his father. He knew his grandfather William was very sad for most of his life. He loved a woman named Eleanor, but her family took her away to Europe before they could marry. He never loved anyone else. But Mr. Clark never knew about these letters. This was the missing part of his family's history. This was the true story of his grandfather's heart. He was so thankful to Leo and Mia for finding this precious treasure. For him, these letters were more valuable than a box of gold. The rest of the summer was different. The hotel felt lighter and happier. Mr. Clark often sat by the fireplace in the evenings, reading the letters. Sometimes, he would share a small, happy story about William and Eleanor with Leo and Mia. Soon, it was the end of summer. It was time for Leo and Mia to pack their bags and go home. On their last day, Mr. Clark made them a special dinner. After dinner, he gave each of them a small gift. It was a photo of the three of them together in front of the hotel. On the back, he wrote, "Thank you for finding my heart. Come back any time." The next morning, the bus arrived in Pineville. Leo and Mia said goodbye to Mr. Clark. It was a happy goodbye, but also a little sad. They promised to write letters to him and to visit next summer. As the bus drove away, Leo and Mia looked out the window at the hotel and the forest. They felt happy. Their summer job was an adventure. They made a new friend. And most importantly, they helped solve a mystery and heal an old heart. It was a summer they would never forget. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Best Stories to Learn English.